Hi, sexy. This is day 2 of Every Day in May. Today was a failure. I'm going to admit that right now. I tried to film all day. I even started in my bed, but I filmed it all the wrong way with my iPhone so that it was all like horizontal instead of landscape. That's no good, is it? Did you hear that? I mixed up horizontal and landscape. I could also say portrait and vertical, but I'm not going to. I did that. Did it wrong. So here's that. Have a look.
Hi, sexy. It's the morning. This is why I look like this. You join me as I just lay in bed for no reason. This is what I do every single morning.
Instead, I've got something to read to you. Now, it's very embarrassing because I wrote this a few years ago. I'd say about 5 years ago was when I last edited it. It was just as I'd moved to London. So I'm being very generous. It was about 4.5 years ago. God, that's too soon. I started writing it though when definitely over 5 years ago, possibly even 6 years ago, I started writing this document. And it was basically a document of my feelings. Now, don't get worried, anyone watching who might think it's about them. It isn't. It's about a young man called Alex James. Not from Blur. No, not that good. He was a boy I worked with, and he was... I wrote what I was feeling down, and I found it the other day, and I thought I would read it out to you, because that's a cool thing to do, isn't it? Now, I don't know if I ever intended this to be heard by anyone, or read by anyone, but I've written it in a sort of, like, vaguely poetic style. There's even little bits on there that are sort of... It's like... it's written in a way that I don't write anymore. It really makes me cringe because I hate seeing how I used to write and how I used to think a little bit. I think it's really awful, and it also really magnifies the fact that I'm so different now and that I've really changed, although still slightly insane. The first sentence. Oh, God. I still remember the first time I heard his name. Should just stop here. I was at work at Hive Bay, and John Corper was telling me about a new boy he had interviewed. I thought it was weird that John had interviewed somebody, because it was usually Svenja. I asked what his name was, and I was told Alex or James, and then he realised it was Alex James. I obviously made the Blur connection straight away, being the cool indie guy that I am, so wasn't going to forget the name. I remember asking John if he was attractive, and John couldn't say. So in he came. I don't properly remember the first time I ever saw him, but I know my instant thought was, fucking hell, he is properly fit. Later on, Leanne went home with her boyfriend Rob, and left me and Alex to lock up. At this point, Alex had already told me that he was basically bisexual, and I was already imagining locking up and some sort of kiss happening. The connection between us was crazy. I've never felt that would happen after a few hours of meeting someone, but I genuinely believed there was a chance of something happening. I really did as well. I really remember that. I really, really thought that was mental. Oh, I was telling him about people that worked at the Bay and made something up about Matt Lennon feeling threatened by him. What? He asked why he would feel threatened, and I said, he's been the best looking boy here for a while now. Ugh. Alex then said, are you trying to tell me something, Jake? And I said, maybe, in a flirty way. I'm so flirty. Then the next shift, it was a Friday night, which meant there were more people around this time. I don't remember too much about it, but I do remember being excited to see him and going upstairs, seeing him standing behind the bar looking a bit lost. I went over and said hello, and the first thing he said was, I'm not allowed to talk to you. I asked why, and he told me how he had told his girlfriend about me and how cool I was. Lol. Oh, I said lol. And that she was worried something would happen. So I said, come on then. And we had a very flirty and fun shift. Then it carried on. Every shift we had together was more chance to flirt. His flirting would often involve touching my arse. I would never touch him, but a lot of things were said, and after a while everyone witnessed the massive flirting show we would put on. They would all say to me that they think he fancies me, but he had a girlfriend. I also soon realised that most people don't think Alex was fit, which completely shocked me. I really did think he was gorgeous, and couldn't understand how anyone could disagree. The flirting got really bad, and I started to think about him all the time and wished that him and Mary would split up. I actually believed that if she did split up, with him, then he would go out with me. It just seemed natural. He used to say stuff all the time about, if I didn't have a girlfriend, so what else would I think? He would sometimes rub himself up against me, knowing full well that I thought he was fucking sexy. I loved it. I loved the touching and the attention, but I didn't love it when it would stop and not end with me pushing him against the lift and kissing him, which it never did. There are so many separate things that happened that are stuck in my mind. Times when I've wanted him so badly and just had to go home while he went off to Mary to do all the things I wanted to do to him. Oh, pervert, filthy creep. The biggest thing to remember is that he constantly encouraged these thoughts and feelings. I wasn't some sad boy lusting after somebody I didn't have a chance with. He made it seem like I had a chance. Melodramatic. Oh my God. I once plucked the courage up to ask if he wanted to do something. If me and him could have some sort of summer affair that Mary didn't need to know about. Oh, I remember sitting on my sofa in my front room sending this text. I really remember. Oh, God, how awful. How awful. I worded it well in a text, and the reply said that he had been thinking about it, but he couldn't be a cheater anymore and loved Mary. Then, one day, I had had enough and had to tell him our friendship couldn't go on because I was miserable about him most of the time. So I sent him a text explaining everything and deleted his number and his Facebook and MySpace and everything. Then we worked together and it was horrible. We were both miserable and I couldn't handle it. The next time we saw each other was at Zoo 08, a festival in June 2008. He came over and sat with me in the queue for a bit, and we kind of made up and had a hug and said sorry and that we hated not being friends. I was much happier. But then I had a weekend with him, mostly with his top off, looking fit and just wanting him more. I remember on the Friday night being very drunk and saying, I can't deal with being around you when I'm drunk. And his reply was, same here. Nothing happened on that weekend, but I did enjoy spending time with him. So I wonder how... Here you go, look, now I'm talking to it like to a reader. Are you ready, reader? So, I wonder how you imagine him. A boy that's in love with a girl, but also really would like to do something with his gay friend? That's what I think and thought too. Recently I've been thinking about him less, but he came up to visit me in London and the things he says are just so annoying. When I bring up the fact that he was a bit of a wanker to lead me on so much, he says things like it was a joke, and then I sort of believe him, but later I think about the things that he said and realise it was not a joke. He said he wanted to, that he had been thinking about it. It pisses me off that he brushes it all off. So my final opinion is that he does want me. Amazing final opinion. I haven't read this for ages. This is amazing. He pushes his luck and then backs away when it gets too much. I believe he loves Mary, but I'm not stupid. I wouldn't have made all the signs and sexual tension up in my head. It all exists all the time that we're together. What do I feel about him? I think that every moment I spend with him, I'm falling for him more. I love how he is. He's such a div. So annoying, but I love it. I love who he is, and I love that he doesn't try to change that to suit the people around him, or to seem clever or grown up. I think he's fucking gorgeous, and I've never looked at him and not wanted to kiss him. I feel happy when I'm around him, and then when he's gone, I want him back. I feel like I want to live my life with him around me. I want to be with him. I want him to be my idiot. I want to stand up for him when people say things about him or treat him badly. I can't say that it's love, but I think it's close. Alex James, if you're watching, I honestly don't feel any of those feelings anymore, and I'm not even sure I was feeling them then. I was just being melodramatic and doing it all for the exciting effect of having an interesting life. You were a fucking idiot, though. You definitely led me on, and that was very naughty. But anyway, I forgive you, and thanks for watching, guys. See you later.